Welcome back to part 2 of Module 9, Lesson 2, where we're working on the area of circles, and we're going to be starting off with what I have as resource number 10, which is going to be looking at semicircles and learning how to find the area of a semicircle. First, a semicircle is defined as half of a circle, so we're going to highlight that. And in words, we would say that the area of a semicircle equals half the product of pi times the square of its radius r. Makes sense because pi times the square of the radius r is the area of a circle. If we're dealing with half the circle, then half of that formula should get us where we need to be. Next, we've got symbols, where we would say area is equal to 1/2 times pi times radius squared. If it was me writing it, I would probably write it as pi times radius squared divided by 2. And as a model, you can see right here where they're demonstrating what half of a circle looks like. That takes us to example number 3, which says a wireless fence transmitter in the back door of the house allows a dog to roam free within a semicircle of 30 feet. What is the area of the space the dog has to roam? And to use pi 3.14 for pi, round your answer to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So we're going to start off by taking a look. Oh no, they just threw too much in there. Let's just break this down a little bit and do it the way I would do it. Hold on just a second. Alright, rather than gumming it all up with the mess that they're making, I'm going to start off by taking and trying to get my mouse to work here. There it works. By writing my formula, and I'm going to do a formula a little different from theirs. I'm going to do area is equal to pi times radius squared, that's a circle formula, divided by 2. They're doing 1/2 pi times radius squared. Either way, it's the same exact thing. Next, I'm going to take from there, area is equal to, pi is 3.14 times, the radius is going to be 30. They tell us right there. And we're going to square the 30, all divided by 2. Now I'm going to take and do area is equal to 3.14 times, well, 30 squared, that's going to be 900. And once again, we have all divided by 2. And at this point, I have options. I can multiply 3.14 times 900. I can divide 3.14 times 2. Or I can divide 900 times 2. And dividing 900 times 2 is stupid easy. So that's what we're going to do first. I'm going to simplify here. I'm going to say 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 900 450 times. And now what does that leave me? That leaves me with area is equal to 3.14 times 450. Now, like I've told you before, I am going to allow you to use a calculator on this lesson. So I'm going to take my 3.14 times 450, and when I do that, I get 1,413. So that puppy dog is going to get to roam a total of 1,413 square feet in the backyard of that house. Now, if you take a look right here, that's the exact answer they came up with. You can type that number in here if you want to, if it makes you feel happy and stuff. I'm not going to waste time doing that. Now it's going to be your turn. Go ahead and pause the video. Work this problem on your own. This problem does involve a mixed number or fraction in it, so use their formula instead, the 1/2 pi times radius squared when you do it. Go ahead. That one's pretty tough, isn't it? I'll grant you, they kind of threw a hard one at you without totally prepping you for it, so let's do it together. I'm going to take and plug it in. Area is equal to 1/2. They say to use 3.14 for pi. That's 3.14 times, and the radius is going to be 16 3/4 feet. And of course, I'm sorry, that's not the radius. That's a diameter. So we got, since that's a diameter, we're going to have to erase this, and we're going to have to find out what the radius is first. So let's do that. Remember that the radius is equal to the diameter divided by 2. So the radius is equal to 16 3/4 divided by 2 over 1. Radius is equal to, I'm going to take in 4 times 16. That's going to end up giving me 64, plus 3. That's going to give me 67 over 4. And I'm going to take the change division and multiplication, and I'm going to take the reciprocal of the second number. Now I have radius is equal to 67 over 8. And we're just going to leave it like that when we plug it in right here, 67 over 8. Next thing I'm going to do, we'll go and throw a 1 down there, is I'm going to take and square that, because everything was going to be squared in the radius. So now area is equal to 1/2 times my 3.14 over 1 times, I'm going to grab my calculator because this problem, it's ugly. I'm going to do 67 times 67, also known as 67 squared, and that's going to give me 4,489. 4,489, and then I'm going to do 8 squared, 8 times 8, that's going to be 64, and I did that with these two numbers right here. And from here, I can look about simplifying and multiplying, but guys, this one's too ugly to even bother with that, so let's just do some straight multiplication. Across the top, I'm going to have, let's see, what do we have here? 1 times 3.14 times 4,489, and that's going to give me 14,095.46, 1495.46, divided by, on the bottom, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 64 is going to be 128. Now the last thing we need to do to solve that problem is divide that numerator by the 128 and hope that we did everything right. The instructions did say we get to round our answer to the nearest hundredths place, which is going to be that 2 right there. So my answer is 110.12. Verify that. Yep, that looks all good. And let's go ahead and plug it in. 110.12. Check. And the answer checks. Not easy math. That one was pretty dang hard, but there's nothing new in there you've never done before. And now it's time to really step up our game. They've given us the topic of use circumference to find area. So now they're going to give us a circumference. We're going to have to take that circumference, find the radius, and then use that radius to find the area. Let's take a look at this video.
To find the area of a circle when given its circumference, first use the circumference formula to find the radius. Write the formula for the circumference. Then substitute the value of the circumference and an approximation for pi. Next, simplify the equation. Then use the division property of equality to solve for the radius r.
Alright, so what they've done so far is they've taken and gave you the circumference of 18 8400ths. You used what you knew about pi. 2 times 3.14 gave you 6.28. Divided that 6.28 on both sides to find that the radius was equal to 3. Let's keep going.
Next, use the radius to find the area of the circle. Write the formula for the area. Then substitute an approximation for pi and the value of the radius. Now simplify the expression for the new area.
So they substituted that 3 in for the
evaluate
radius.
the power. Then multiply. The area of the circle is about 28.26 square meters.
I wish they hadn't taken and deleted all their steps as they went along, but they substituted the 3 in for the radius. They squared the 3 to get 9, and then 3.14 times 9 gave you the final answer. Let's see if we can do some of these all together. Now, the first example they give us for this type of problem, example 4, looks really hard, but it actually is set up to make your math very easy. They tell us that the exact circumference of a circle is 32 pi, meaning 32 times 3.14. But we are not going to write 3.14 at all in the first half of this problem. It says, what is the approximate area of the circle? Use 3.14 for pi and round to the nearest hundredths if necessary. Now, they did give us some supporting work, but look at everything they're throwing at you at one time. I'm not going to do that. We're instead going to break it down, find some good place to work here, and we're going to start off with what we know. We know that circumference is equal to pi times 2 pi radius. We also know in this one that I believe it was 30 pi. Let me go back and look at the problem. Nope, 32 pi. So my circumference is 32 pi, and it is equal to 2 pi radius. Now what's going to happen next is really cool. You're going to like this. I'm going to isolate the variable r by dividing its friends 2 and pi on both sides. When I do that, pi divided by pi is 1, pi divided by pi is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1 on the right, 1 times r. That's just going to leave me r for the radius. And on the left-hand side, 32 divided by 2 is going to give me 16. So now I have my radius of 16, which I'm going to circle, not because it's the answer, but it is an important sub-answer. And I'm ready to take on my formula for area of a circle. This is area is equal to pi times radius squared. At this point, we're going to plug in what we know, and we do have to go ahead and use our 3.14 for pi now. So area is equal to 3.14 times my radius was going to be 16, and we're squaring it. From here, area is equal to 3.14 times 16 squared. Well, let's find our calculator, and we'll throw that up there. That's going to be 16 times 16, which is equal to 256. I should have known that. 256. And when we multiply that times our 3.14 times 3.14, we get an answer of 803 and 84 hundredths, 803.84, as being the area of that circle. We're going to jump back over to our problem right here, type it in, 803.84, and check, and somewhere I did something wrong. Oh, that's why, because right here they're just asking for the radius, so we're going to plug in the radius right there, that checks, and now we're going to see, yep, there it is, 803.84 for the area, and we're good again. Not real hard, does require some work, and it does require you to think about how things are working in this problem. The nice part on this one was when we could just divide out pi without ever converting it into a 3.14. Now it's going to be your turn to work a problem, and you're going to work this one just like the one I just worked. Go ahead and work on that now, please. Okay, I've started off by writing my formulas for my problem, and I'm going to start writing what I know. First thing I know is that the circumference of that circle was 25 pi. So I'm just going to write it as 25 pi on the left is equal to 2 pi radius on the right, and that's going to make the problem easier, even though it looks harder. Now we're going to isolate the variable by taking away r's friends. His friends are 2 and pi, which are multiplying, so we're going to divide them. I'm going to divide them on both the left and the right. So now I've got the 2's divided out becoming 1, the pi's divided out becoming 1. 1 times the radius is going to be the radius. And on the other side, I've got pi divided by pi is equal to 1 again. And then from here, 25 divided by 2, that's going to end up giving me, nope, not 14, 12. Let's try that again. 12.5 is equal to my radius. Now I can take that along with 3.14 and plug it into the area formula. Pi is equal to 3.14 times my radius is going to be 1.2. In fact, I don't even need a parenthesis on this one. 12.5 squared. Area is equal to, I have no idea why I said 5 right there. Oh, that's not, this right here should be a 4. So I'm going to rewrite this now as 3.14 times. Then I have my 12.5 squared, 12.5, and we're going to square it, and that's going to be 156 and 25 hundredths, 156.25. I'm going to multiply that value times 3.14 times 3.14, and that's going to equal to 490.625, rounded to the nearest hundredths place. That's going to be 490 490.63, which we're going to put in our final answer. Before I check that, I do want to point something out to you. Your calculator has a pi button, which for this calculator is located right there. But if I push it, it doesn't give me 3.14. It gives me the complete value of pi through a whole bunch. I won't say complete. It gives me a bunch of the decimal places of pi. That's too many. We don't need that for most of what we're doing. 3.14 is sufficient. Now we're going to jump back over to our problem, 490.63. I'm going to type it in, 490.63, and check. The answer checks. Easy math. Now that's going to be it for this lesson. Go ahead and get started on your homework, and I look forward to answering any questions you have in class tomorrow.